I would guess that most of you have already seen the 45 billion Macariel killmail. That is a very impressive killmail. That Macariel had full A-type modules. Now there is one more ship that I know of that has a full A-type build. Actually a mix between A-types and storyline mission modules. And well, I believe most of you are currently looking at that ship. Now I have two builds, actually three builds on this Bhaalgorn. One that I share around, and I have one that I use for gate camps, and one that is my private build that I mostly use for display, and that is a almost full A-type build Bhaalgorn. Have A-type lasers, A-type repairers, and A-type adaptive armor hardeners. Now I say mostly A-type because the medium slot modules are all storyline mission modules, so yeah, you can't have a full A-type Belgorn because the best mid-slot modules are storyline faction modules, which are still quite expensive. So that's a little fact, a little fun fact for this big old ship. Now, as for the Nanocores, well, I haven't really used the neon gas nanocore that often on this ship because I figured out that the current default Nosferatu range is mostly enough. However, it can give you advantages in some certain situations, although in my case the capacitor and the range of the neutralizers or Nosferatus is not a problem. The problem is the tank. I really need tank on this Belgorn. So I have been working on one of the nanocores that I have, and that one is specific for tank. It's quite well developed, I must say, and overall does perform very nicely. Now at this station I don't have my neon gas nanocore. That one is left at another station. I currently have the one that I'm trying not to click on because it would give you my exact stats, but my stats currently are also hidden because I need that advantage in our camps or in our roams, or even if we go and smash camps. I need to have that element of surprise always when I run the Belgorn. But the default look on both nanocores is the same. I keep the default look. Now, our first target today is a Stratios. We had some luck to decloak this Stratios. They have been pointed. Their capacitor is most likely already depleted, so that Stratios is not going anywhere. It is a tanky Stratios. Those ships have very good armor resistances, and it seems like that this Stratios had a very nice build. It did take a couple hits, and that was a very nice kill. That's how you make 1 billion ISK in 25 seconds. Well, again a very lucky catch. Not quite sure who uncloaked that Stratios. I wasn't that far away, but my drone could actually be the one who's responsible for that, although I believe it's one of my teammates. The next target we have a Scout Nemesis 3 tier 10 bomber. Now I say Scout because I believe we are going to get some salt for that Stratios. We have decided to go and visit another system. This is kinda far away from our usual home system, and so far we did get some nice kills so far. Definitely not complaining about a Stratios kill. These ships are kinda rare. And well, a little bit later my fears were confirmed. It looks like the Stratios did cause some salt. You can see this Daredevil doing laps around my Belgorn. Now this Daredevil is maintaining a very close orbit. I believe this is a afterburner. They have one web, one small Nosferatu, one point. Seems like they lost interest in the Belgorn, and they decided to go and... Actually, what's going on here? Is my teammate shooting the Daredevil, or is the Daredevil shooting at my teammate? And they're kinda stuck at the gate. Well, let's see if I can set this Daredevil on fire. Although, uh-oh, well that's not looking good. That's a massive fleet. Let's see, ooh, we have some Abaddons. Well, not some Abaddons, we have a whole Abaddon fleet. Some other cruisers. Actually, 2 Daredevils and 1 battlecruiser, my apologies. So far no cruiser on the grid. Well, that did not end well, and I believe, yep, we lost our bubble. Surprised that... Now this is one of the rare cases where I'm not the primary target. In literally 90% of cases, I'm the one that gets set on fire first, but in this case it was our bubble pilot. That Daredevil was very lucky. I had a perfect opportunity to shoot it down, but the rest of the fleet did warp in, so risking that is not in the current plan. Although, if the Daredevil were stuck at the gate a little bit earlier, then that would be a dead Daredevil. But well, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It's just how things go. And for me, it's time to jump. Got my hull scratched, 1% hull. That's okay. Usually, actually, it's not usually. It's in most cases I have the wrong build for the wrong situation. I really need 3 armor repairers for a big fleet. Now back at home, I was a little bit late to the party. We had a small fleet come through. The Phantasm, heavily damaged, is the first target, but they jumped. That's okay. We didn't have a bubble on the gate, unfortunately. The second target, I will attempt to go for the Ashimo. The Ashimo has jumped. And we have a interdictor that got blown up by our sniper. Very nice. And there is a bomber. Let's try to get the bomber. They warped away. Okay. Well, wasn't entirely a failure. Did get some kills before I warped in, and I believe we also did take some losses. There is 4 wrecks. Let me collect the wrecks. There is 4 wrecks on the grid. Very interesting. I believe one of the wrecks is our own wreck. Well, that's nice loot. Let's go for the next wreck. I hope that the fleet returns. They are still within the system. Couple of them are docked, couple of them are at the other side of this gate. There is a chance that they are regrouping, and that means if they are regrouping, then it means that they will be back. Well, the bomber did return. The bomber decided to go and loot some wrecks. Although that wreck wasn't that... It did not have a lot of expensive stuff inside, so I did manage to get the most valuable items. So it was another little success. Although I really wish that I did lock the bomber on time. Well then. Let's use the Bhaalgorn a little bit in low sec, although that's something that I personally don't like to do. Bhaalgorn in low sec does not work that well. Of course, you can make it work, but in my hands the Bhaalgorn is only for null or in some rare occasions it can work in low sec, but I feel way more comfortable in null with the Bhaalgorn than in low sec. We have a hurricane that's a little bit far away. I had a very... I warped at the... Actually, I did warp at the correct spot, but the fight is just far away. The hurricane has warped to the star. Okay, let's go to the sun. Now again, like we have seen in the last couple of Belgorn parts, the Belgorn is not good for chasing ships, and well, for some reason I keep repeating that mistake, but I guess in the heat of the moment I forget some of my own rules that I made for this ship. And well, if you chase a battlecruiser in a Belgorn, you most likely will not catch the battlecruiser, unless you chase them in null and they land in a bubble, or if you have a tackle ship to tackle the ship. Well then, next target. What do we have here? Is this an Orthus? Well, yes it is. Let's go and quickly shoot the Orthus down. There we go, nice. Will not lie, that kinda hurt me a little bit. As an Orthus pilot, that did hurt me a little bit. An Orthus that lands within the Belgorn's Nosferatu and webs is just not good news for the Orthus. Now the loot was pretty good. Let me show you what the Orthus has dropped. I didn't loot the Stratios wreck from earlier, but it did give us around 1 billion. This gave us around 771 million ISK. Well, not bad. Not bad. That was actually a pretty nice Orthus. Next faction cruiser on the menu, we have a Cinnabal. For some reason I really love to shoot at angel ships, especially the Cinnabal. Not quite sure why, but there is something, I don't know, something satisfying about webbing a Cinnabal. And of course their capacitor is very empty by now. And their hull is also empty. That was a nice kill, by the way. We did have, I believe, 1 or 2 B-type Cinnabal kills a while ago. Not quite sure. I think we had a couple of them. They were quite pricey. Well, definitely not as pricey as this Belgorn, but yeah, pretty good. Pretty decent price. Next target, we have another faction ship, a Worm faction frigate. They have been webbed, and well, they got popped by the lasers. Very interesting. Honestly, did not expect my lasers to hit, but they did hit, so that was a nice kill. Another faction ship down is always a good thing. Alright, well, let's go towards the next target. We have a Tempest Striker, or well, I like to call the ship Bhaalgorn because it reminds me of the Marauders in EVE Online. Well, they have been very much webbed. They have been, well, not quite sure what's the status of their capacitor, but we have 2 very hungry vampires, very big and hungry vampires on the gate, so their capacitor is not in a good shape. We also have some very good DPS ships present on the field, so yeah, the structure of that ship wasn't in a good shape as well. That was a nice kill. Sometimes this system does surprise me so much. In a lot of days, you know, we don't have much traffic. Sometimes, you know, couple ships. Sometimes, you know, you get a carrier. Sometimes you get a battleship. Sometimes you get 7 battleships in a row. Sometimes you get 10 faction battleships in a row. So there is something very special about our home system. And of course, That was nice loot. That was very nice loot, actually. Well, looks like the Belgorn is going to be transformed in the cargo Belgorn. What do we have here? Another Tempest, this time the classic Tempest, also a pretty good ship. There is quite a bit of traffic in local. I see one starboard trainer popped in. Well, let's ignore the starboard trainer, that's just a tier 5 cruiser. The Tempest is the real target here. Although let me just lock on the starboard in case they try something funny. This Tempest seems to have a nanocore, and they're also going down very quickly. I really like the new effects that they added to the game. Makes the electronic warfare modules a lot more visible. Alright, that was a nice kill, and that was a very pretty explosion. Let me go and grab the wreck as usual. The usual thing, cargo Belgorn doing its job. That stabber is doing something very silly there. Next target, we have a Dominix. Okay, they are well within the optimal range. Pointed, webbed. This Dominix seems to have a lot of shield. Usually when a Dominix doesn't have a shield tank, the shield goes down in 1 or 2 hits. But the shield of this Dominix is holding out incredibly well, actually. They're trying to burn to the gate, but it's not going to work. I am going to ram because I believe they have a micro warp drive. And well, this is a failed ram attempt, or it wasn't failed. Okay, I did actually ram the ship. Nice. For a second I thought that I missed, but I didn't. Let's not shoot the wreck. Well, that's a very weird... What was that? Okay, that was a weird Dominix. That was a weird Dominix. I expected something different from the build, but it was, I guess, that. Next target we have a Tornado. Now this Tornado seems to have a large micro warp drive, so I need to go and quickly deplete the capacitor of that ship. Tornado with large micro warp drive is a threat. Not a threat to my ship, but they are fast, so they can easily burn out of the bubble. Although, not sure what they are trying to do here. You will notice when they lose capacitor. And they are now slowing down. They lost capacitor. They're now moving on inertia. And they are actually shooting at me. Impressive. Well, they are definitely not going to warp away now. They are well within the bubble. And of course, obviously, without capacitor, although they are firing back. Did some damage on my shield, but well, the Belgorn has a lot of shield, surprisingly. It has a lot more armor, but it still has a decent amount of shield. Well then, that was a nice kill. Kinda lucky that the Tornado did spawn on the other side of the gate, so they couldn't burn away with the large micro warp drive. They had to go through the bubble, and well, in the process of going through the bubble, they did get capped. That's one of the things about this ship. It depletes capacitors very quickly. And we will see how the balance patch will work on this ship in April. The ship might actually get 1 extra low slot, who knows. I hope that it does get 1 extra low slot. Next target we have one prophecy, a red prophecy. That means it's going to be a very tasty prophecy. Okay, prophecy has been destroyed. Not bad. Actually very nice. And for some reason I actually believe I should repair the game, because the laser animation gets stuck way too often lately. And usually after I repair the game, all the bugs do disappear, so I guess that's something that I need to do. And we have something interesting. A cormorant command, a Corax command, a command destroyer. I don't see a lot of these ships floating around, they are quite rare, and that was also, like I like to say, like I usually say, that was also a very nice kill. I don't see a lot of these destroyers flying around, although I really hope that the upcoming balance patch does, you know, make the destroyers a bit more popular. If it ends up being as I personally expect it to go, then I will actually go back and I will fly the good old Talvar. I will fly some destroyers that I have in mind for a very long time now, and of course we'll fly some other ships. I'm actually very curious to see if the Belgorn gets one extra low slot. There's a chance that that might happen, but again, we will see. Everything is possible, and but one thing is for sure, the stars will be fun. I really hope that that's the case. And well, with that being said, hope that you enjoyed today's Bhaalgorn ride. We had some very nice kills, and we had some salt as well. I'm thinking to make a new series where I show you the collection of salt that we received over time. I think that would be fun, but I'm still thinking about some other new series that I can make for this game. Well then, with that being said, hope that you enjoyed. Stay safe, fly safe, and I'll see you next time.